If you ever feeling ready to put some work out in, I got you. Cause you good at this. You're the hardest mojo.
You got my boy, K. One of the baddest we both know. She run these streets harder than some of these men. But ain't got no heart. Jukebox.
Some else happen. Fame, OC, Crystal.
You don't know that all that's connected, though.
Nothing ever works out for us, Juke.
You loyal to your family. I'm loyal to mine.
Shannon Burke said you were a solid citizen. Said you gave her some good information.
Trying to get me killed, talking up in here like that.
Welcome back, Top Notch Gang, to another video. Over the course of these 4 seasons of Raising Kanan, we've been slowly watching Jukebox's emergence into this game of her being cold-hearted, rootless, the kind of Jukebox we seen people like Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy describe in the original Power. And as season 4 has played out, that ascension into the game, into this life, her being more wicked and gruesome, it's all ramping up pretty fast, and I think it's about to take a step to the next level as we talk about her next kill with Detective Garcia, as we have a lot of teaser scenes and exclusive photos of them having multiple conversations in the future. Want to talk about how that play out connected to the episode 9 description, as well as talk about Jukebox's next plans and steps. We know she's currently looking for who took out Fame, but I want to talk about what's next for her, where I see her going from here on her path to becoming a cop. I think a lot of this is going to connect one after another, so we're going to talk about her past, present, and everything we learned about her from the future, from the original Power, and connect it to talk about what we're going to see from Jukebox at the end of season 4 of Raising Kanan, and of course in the last and final season, season 5. So as usual, you guys can leave a like, comment, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, opinions, and everything down below, but let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, as usual, we got to start with the episode 409 description. Ignore the title. The episode title actually is called Peekaboo, but it says Kanan suspicious of Rock's involvement, investigates Crystal's disappearance. Rock faces fallout from Unique's retaliation and Marvin's mistake. Jukebox revisits her past, and Lou embraces his new path. Now, obviously, we're going to be focused on the Jukebox side of things, and this talking about her revisiting her past, I think it can be referring to 2 specific things. One, obviously, Detective Garcia and Detective Burke, which we're gonna dive into first, and 2, the second half of this video where I talk about her next moves, how she becomes the cop and everything like that, the person we saw in the original Power. But to get back to the Garcia and Burke side of things, we all know Jukebox's and Burke's relationship. Burke kind of looked out for her after the death of Nicole. She went to the gravesite with her, had a few conversations with her. I believe Burke also got her out of a holding cell one time, and Jukebox even warned Burke about Howard to watch her back from him and everything like that before she got killed. And Jukebox went to her service as well. She was standing outside, but once she saw Howard, she decided to leave. So they had someone mutual and close relationship, and I thought that was gonna be what led Jukebox to becoming a cop, having a relationship with someone like that, or possibly because of Detective Howard seeing someone like him being dirty. I thought that could come back full circle and why she became a dirty cop, knowing that someone like him more than likely took out Burke. I guess that's what we kind of understood from her watching him outside her service. But obviously Burke and Howard, they're both gone now, and this is where Detective Garcia comes into the picture. In season 4 episode 8, we saw him walk up to Jukebox and talk to her when she was eating and mention Burke and how Burke told him basically Jukebox was a good person, gave her some good information once upon a time, and he's trying to use that to weasel his way into finding out about Unique, Rock, Ronnie, and that whole situation, how Howard ended up dying.
Shannon Burke said you were a solid citizen. Hear about Unique and what happened to his brother. Said you gave her some good information.
Trying to get me killed, talking up in here like that.
Now, this is relevant and important because we already got a few new scenes showcasing that Jukebox and Detective Garcia are gonna, at the very minimum, have at least 2 more conversations. Now, in one of these specific scenes where we see them talking once again, we could see him showing her this picture. Now, this could also be what they're referencing in the description about her revisiting her past. We're gonna explain more of that later, like I said, on my theory. But with her revisiting his past, it's hard to tell or predict what this picture could be. Once again, it could be someone like Burke, who she had a close relationship with, but it also could be someone like Famous, who she's looking into his killer and who that could possibly be. That's her whole goal currently right now, and he could be trying to figure that out. It also could be anybody, like her mom, someone else she lost. It could be Nicole. Once again, Jukebox has gone through some of the biggest hardships of the entire show so far, so it's kind of hard to predict what or who he could be showing her in this picture, but we can see she obviously don't like that shit. And honestly, to be real, in Power, the cops, these dudes, I ain't gonna lie, they be getting worse and worse as the show is going on. In Force and in Raising Kanan, these gotta be the worst cops than even in the original Power. And the cops and the police, they always just end up being killed off anyway. So I think if anybody's gonna take him out, it's more than likely gonna be Jukebox. She even said it when he was questioning her in the pizza shop earlier, that him doing this and following her around and talking to her, he basically, the shit he's saying, he's trying to get her killed. He's putting her between a rock and a hard place, and we already see she's been on crash out mode this entire season, ever since getting her first kill already. So I think he's gonna push the issue. He might find out a detail or push too hard. I think that could also be a catalyst to her becoming a cop. This would be like the third cop that she has some type of encounter with that shaped who she was as a character going forward. If I had to give an actual prediction about what he was showing her in the picture, it more than likely would be Famous to me. That's my idea at the very least, because once again, that's her main target of what she's focused on. She told that to Kanan, that's what she's focused on. She's not worrying about anything else right now.
I just want to find out who dropped Fame. I ain't got no plans beyond that.
Now, I think her mindset on that might have changed just a little based off what we just seen in episode 8, where she went instead of Kanan to go check out OC's house, see if he's been home and everything like that, because we know OC stole Kanan's money with Unique, ran off with it. And this whole conversation with her saying this about Famous came about because Kanan was talking about her and him going in business together, being partners, basically running the streets together. And so now, with her and Kanan being closer and basically in the field together, and OC, we know now he got killed by Unique, he got found in the dumpster, everything like that, and they're basically more than likely not getting that money back from Unique unless he gives it to Kanan, as we can see them meeting up in the episode 9 preview. But if it just so happens that they don't, I think this leads into my next point about her revisiting her past and taking the next steps. That's what we're about to get into now. We don't get the money back, they're gonna have to find ways to get the money, to get some loot. And that brings us to Jukebox once again. I think I know exactly what she's gonna do. The clues, hints have been laid out to us over the course of this season already. Now, remember how at the beginning of the show, Jukebox wasn't in the game like the rest of her family, but she was stealing, robbing trucks, and she was taking this with the crew she was working with, and it was selling on the streets to make money and everything like that. I think she's gonna go back to this life for two reasons. One, we see in the episode 409 description, I believe, it talks about her revisiting her past. Now, I thought about this, about her going through her tragedies and everybody and everything she's lost, which is very possible. But I also remember that her friends and crew that she did this shit with, now that she's back in the game, we saw them be reintroduced a few episodes ago where she went out for drinks with them. And they even talked about her coming out with them for old times, hitting a lick again. And she was like, that feels like going backwards for her. It doesn't feel like going forward.
What y'all here? Fools paying crazy premium for merch right now.
Appreciate the offer, but shit feels a little like going backwards to me.
But now I think that now that she's established herself in this game and in this life, that's the route she's gonna choose to take. Now, this is important because I think this also impacts why she becomes a cop. I initially thought she became a cop, obviously, because she had an attachment to someone like Burke, who she fucked with, she was close with, they looked out for each other. Burke checked on her after Nicole's death. So I thought that would set her on the path to becoming a cop, or even Howard himself, him being a dirty cop, her seeing that close up, face to face, everything like that. And we also thought the military, that was the path. But now I think it's because she's gonna be able to control these situations. When she goes back into this thievery and doing missions and heists, I think a lot of shit is gonna go wrong, and her becoming a cop is just to tidy it all up. Because if you remember, once again, in the original Power, when we're first introduced to her, it's because she built a small team to rob the gas station, and obviously her being a cop, she could pull up to the scene first and make sure everything go well. Now obviously that mission went wrong, she killed one of the guys, but once again, because she's a cop, she could cover up everything that happens and went wrong. She took the camera footage. The guy on her team that she killed said he killed the cashier and then she killed him. Everything tied it up. And we see later in that season as well, she goes on a heist and mission with Kanan where they rob this jewelry store, take these watches, diamonds, all this other shit. And since she's a cop, when they're getting away in the car, she redirects them to a different area and allows her team to get away. So I think this is her path to becoming a cop. It has nothing to do with who she's affiliated with or anything like that. It's simply to make her job and what she wants to do easier. And funny enough, when she meets back with her crew in episode 3, like I mentioned earlier, one of the guys says a line that also made me hint or give me a clue that this is why it happened. Check out what he said.
Listen, ain't nothing wrong with doing what you was doing before if you do it better.
And older Jukebox even mentioned this in the original Power. Kanan obviously didn't like that she became a cop. He did not fuck with that shit, which is possibly another reason on his list why he wanted to kill her. But when she was asking him what went down with Ghost, he didn't want to tell her. He was like, "You're not black no more, you blue." And she was like, "That's exactly why I could help."
You ain't black no more. You blue.
Which is why I can help.
So she sees the advantageous position that she's in by becoming a cop, and I think that's the sole reason she becomes it. So I think it makes the most sense for her specifically that she goes back to hidden legs, robberies, and doing heists, because that's what we got from her in the original Power. She was never really moving weight, bricks in the streets like that, in that type of field of work. Maybe we'll still see some of that because once again, her and Kanan are gonna become partners, but I think she's more so gonna be heist mission focused. Maybe find somebody who got a lot of loot, who got a lot of product, who they could take advantage of, and she just puts the plan in motion. We've seen her multiple times in the original Power orchestrate these plans word for word, bar for bar, step by step, everything they're gonna do.
ICE is gonna be on the move sooner than expected. We gotta do the lick tomorrow. Dirt, you're running point on entry and handling the silent alarm.
And this is something that we know now she learned from the army, because we saw when her and Kanan pulled up to the basketball court to check Freddy's crew, she was planning how to make sure they don't escape and to corner them, to make sure they get the information, everything they need.
Closest any gun gonna be in their jackets. You get the drop on her, ain't gonna be nowhere for them to run.
You cover the far side? I'm gonna get their attention.
So this is something that she's just good at. So I think the robbing, the missions, the heist route is the way she's gonna choose to go, and it's how she's gonna start making the money for them. Overall though, that's it for this video. You can give your thoughts and opinions on who do you believe Jukebox's next kill is gonna be, or if you even believe she takes out Detective Garcia, and why he's so pressed on following and getting information from her. Who do you think he's showing her in this picture or whatever? I do think she is gonna go back to her heist and her mission focused side. That just seems more her speed. Once again, like I said, we saw her doing that type of stuff in the army where she was commanding them, planning things out perfectly. I think that's more of her thing, and I don't know, maybe her and Kanan still be in the streets, she's moving product, but that's going to be interesting to see, especially going into season 5. Depending on how the season ends and where the rest of the Thomas family ends up, Jukebox is still going to be the most interesting character to me going forward. As usual though, you guys can leave a like, comment, subscribe, let me know what other videos you want to see me make, but I'm out.